Hey, good evening. Mike's going to be here in a minute. I'm just getting it started now because I said 8:30 or 8:45, so it's 8:46 now. So got to get in. Would have been Mike would be here on time, but I guess what I did? I forgot to give him the link. I sent him an email with no link. So that's how good I am at this. Just checking everything out. Hopefully everything hopefully we're all coming through here. Let's see here. We're good. All right. Where's he at? Where's he at? Where's he at? Oh man, I'm recovering. I am recovering. How about y'all? I just can't believe this stuff. There we go. There we go. There he is. Oh my gosh. Hello? You there?
There you are.
There you are. Right on, man.
I don't know why I have to keep clicking on the microphone on the thing.
I know it's silly stuff, but man. Oh, what the heck was that?
That was crazy.
Oh my gosh.
Crazy game.
That was I just can't believe that one. The edit function. Yeah, come on. I'm just doing a quick. Oh, I just watch it. Just thinking back, Dave Roberts kind of went almost against the grain. I thought game was over in that bottom of the ninth when he brought Glasnow in, or at least going to be tied quick.
Yeah.
And what do we get? 3 pitches, 3 outs. Briggs in the house.
And a bobble on the on base running, which is plagued both teams.
Yep. Yeah, that those things happen. Their guy messed up. We've messed up a few. Let's see. Aeronetics in the house. Yeah, 2016 NLDS game 5 level intensity. Yeah, it feels that. It's just so everything was just right there on the edge the whole game. One little this, one little that. I mean, shoot, man. Roki had Guerrero struck out before, in that earlier inning. I mean, that umpire, he took 2 of them away from him. Not the same at bat, but that stretched Roki out. Made that more intense. Made more pitches, of course, being thrown. Oh man.
Yeah, but he knows better though. 2 strikes then hitting the batter. He knows better than that. It got away from him a little bit, but
Yep.
It's just mental mistakes by both teams, that's forcing a game 7.
Yeah.
Which is, pretty cool.
Wasn't it great though to see the Dodgers actually play high IQ baseball? Let's start with Justin Dean putting his hands up.
Yeah.
Man, that was a game changer right there. Uh-oh, where'd you go?
What about it? He had the
You bounced for a second.
Oh.
Yeah, it just kind of froze on you.
He had the whereabout to, make a good call out in the outfield and put his hands up, for the and it worked out.
And then thinking of Miggy Rowe, earlier there was that ball that he reached out with Robleski on the mound, and he got it bare. He thought he had the smartness to go, I'm going to go bare hand and get him out. That play, and then of course Kike and Miggy Rowe, that scoop, that's the hardest ball to catch.
Mm-hmm.
And he did it. And Doc made the right call getting Miggy Rowe in there.
Well, you got the veteran to come in there who knows how to play the game and knows how to turn the game around and inspire, other players. That's what he's been in there for. And his interview before the game even started, he was talking about that. So yeah, I have no doubt in my mind he's going to be an excellent, coach someday.
Oh, absolutely. My gosh. My goodness. Maybe our third base coach next year. What? Did I say that? Yes, I did. Yeah. And then Kike just doing, he didn't do it at the plate, but making that play. And I didn't see that, but Aeronetic said that Kike raised his arms first for on that play. So
Oh, okay.
I believe that. I mean, just because it's Kike and he's probably yelling too. But Justin Dean didn't panic, took care of business.
Yeah.
And that's a good baseball. I got to be honest, I don't think number 44 does the right thing out there. Um, yeah. So keep those veterans in there. Time to win some baseball games. And let's see. Yeah. Yeah. I just, and then, my biggest complaint going into the game was our cleanup hitter. Why is he batting fourth? It worked out, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it worked out for for the play that, where it counted,
Yep. That's all
but
that matters.
you know, I hate to be like been saying it, since we've been going live, this whole postseason. This Dodger offense, man, they need to score some runs, man.
I
They need to
know.
score and hit. Just look what the teams have done against them just by hitting bloop balls and doing
Mhm.
whatever they can to get on base.
Exactly.
It seems like the Dodgers offense is trying to do whatever they can to hit the ball out of the park.
Yeah. And then, I mean, they were said, you know, Gosman's first 32 pitches, only 11 were in the strike zone.
Hmm.
Yet he had what, 8 strikeouts or something by then? That's bad. It's bad. It's bad. But they figured it out at least for 1 inning. 1 inning it worked out. And Will Smith coming up, hitting the ball. Well, Tommy Edman, remember, he got the double. So
Yeah.
another guy that, was on a lot of people's list. But talking, I think it was this morning. I kind of settled in and I said it somewhere. I Miggy Rowe at second with Tommy and left, or in center with Kike and left. It's a better defense, and this is the last game, so Tommy Edmond really probably going, I don't just I don't care about my ankle. Let's play baseball. Let's win a baseball game.
Yeah.
And having a high IQ center fielder, a high IQ second baseman. Mookie still was saying after the post game, he was still asking Miggy what to do in some of those situations. So having him out there, Miggy Rowe, that coach on the field, man, that helps.
Yeah. He also said, in some post game stuff that, him and Miguel Rojas has hand signals that they do for one another when he has a question for him when he's in the dugout and stuff. So, which is good. You know, it- that's the main reason why, Rojas came here, to help him out and to be a backup. And he has embraced that position and his role for the team. And, it's definitely showed and has helped Betts out, and
Mhm.
becoming, a Gold Glove, nominee.
Exactly. Exactly. So let's see, Norm. Yeah, yeah. Well, I was kind of with you on that, and then I thought about how bad he'd been against Gosman, and that's the problem. He's just terrible against Gosman. So I think Teo tomorrow will be fine. I think they're going to roll with the same lineup. I'm sure tomorrow. I fully expect Shohei Ohtani to start. I was talking about that on the way home, because it just doesn't make sense to put him anywhere else unless he closes, and but if you it just gets rough if you don't close it with the way the lineup would be. So
Yeah.
that is the right call. The Glasnow thing again, I just was like, what are you doing even thinking about that? But that was the right call too. So and it's
How
yeah,
does that set, what does that set up for tomorrow though?
everybody's available. So I think that here's what I'm guessing. Shohei goes as long as he can, which I think is going to be about 3 or 4 innings. One and a half times through the order. Glasnow comes in, does kind of, does three or whatever he can do. And then Snell's probably available. Roki, I don't know, because he was well over 30 pitches today. Robos should be good. Sheehan should be good. and not that I'm going, oh wow, these are great options. I would rather go with Shohei, Glasnow, and Snell tomorrow. Those are your 3 best pitchers. So that's what I would do, but I don't know. What do you think?
Well, Yamamoto said he was going to be available tomorrow, but he'd rather not come in. He'd
He
rather
wants to win
watch,
it big.
but he'll be available if needed. I still have Glasnow starting the game. Personally, I'd like to see him start the game and go at least 4 innings, and then have Ohtani come in behind him, and then Snell come in.
Then you lose the DH. That's why they won't do it.
Mm.
That's why it'll be Shohei starting. That's the weirdness about this thing. Klein might be available. I forgot about him. He was so good for 4 innings of 74 pitches of gloriousness. Yeah, every pitcher will have a short leash tomorrow on both sides. Yeah, Scherzer will be the starter, but Bieber will be available. The big guy, the Savage. Ooh, keep that guy away from that game. Let's see. Richie's in the house. Richie's in Oregon right now.
Well, I mean, the Dodgers can put out all the best pitching in the world. The dang offense still needs to produce more than 2 or 3 runs to win tomorrow.
Yep. Yeah, I would trust. I trust the 3 guys. Well, yeah. Glasnow's still lower on my trust list, but I think Snell. I would. Again, he hasn't done it though. But that's everyone's all hands are on deck, and I think the epic ending would be, of course. Well, there's 2 epic endings. One is the big lead scenario, and Kershaw closes it out, and the other scenario is Yamamoto closes that sucker out and becomes Madison Bumgarner.
Well,
Let's see.
and I'm not going to be surprised, if we see Kershaw tomorrow at some point. Maybe coming in and
One batter.
maybe he's the one who's coming in behind. Ohtani. I forgot about him not being able to DH. Yeah,
Yeah.
so he will need to start, but maybe Kershaw comes in and pitches 1 inning, right after him, and then Snell or Glasnow, Snell, or whatever.
Well, especially if it's a couple lefties coming up or something like that. They can also slot in. Oh gosh, lefties wise, it's like the one that we're supposed to trust the most that's available is Bonda, and I don't trust him.
No.
I mean, him and Trinan are should be the last 2 guys that would pitch.
Yeah, I mean Bond has lost it this season. I don't know if it was because of the, earlier in the year he was overused, or
Mhm.
what he is, or he just doesn't have it this year or
Yeah,
whatever. But
they caught up to him.
yeah,
Yeah,
because him and Vesia were overused, quite a bit, at
yeah,
the beginning of the season. So,
right. Yeah, Vesia kind of had a dead arm there too for a bit.
mhm.
So yeah, so Richie's in Oregon, not having a good time watching the Dodgers. Yeah, we've been living on the edge all series. Yeah, Bumgarner, Randy Johnson. Yeah, that's kind of it. Yeah. Muncie's defense rose ugly head against Snell's a bad matchup against Toronto. Style just plays their strengths. I don't quite agree with that, but I get it. I think there's certain guys, and it's just going to depend on the situation. But I trust Snell over most of our bullpen. I don't, and that's part of the problem. This isn't a problem if our bullpen is what it was even close to what we thought it was going to be at the beginning of the season. That's why.
Mhm.
Yeah, Muncie's defense, like, get the glove down. And Mookie had a play, man. I know they didn't give him an error, but man, he should have had that one too.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But they
I
stepped up.
I trust Snell. Tomorrow's totally different. Their mindset tomorrow is going to be completely locked in. Every single one of those pitchers, and they're not going to remember what their past performance is going to be. They're just going to go in there and paint and throw as many strikes and get batters out. And they're going to do their best at it. Snell wants to win. He wants to win bad, and I think he's going to do everything he can. Glasnow wants to contribute.
Yep.
He sat on the bench last year, to get his ring, but he wants to go out there and contribute. And
Absolutely.
Shohei's going to do what he's going to do.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, and so I'm going to take a shot at my local team here. So if this was the Padres and they just blew a game like that, right? 3-1, they have 2 on, no outs, and they blew a game like that. They would come in tomorrow and the Dodgers would roll over them. The Blue Jays are not like that.
No, they're not. They're
They
not going to
bounce
roll
back.
over.
We saw them bounce back in the extra inning game, after the extra inning game, and put a thump on the Dodgers. My gosh. They put
I
a
don't
real thump on them.
I don't see it for tomorrow. I think this loss is a little bit more devastating than, than um, the extra innings one, just the way that they lost it.
It was
Uh,
bad. Yeah.
I think this is going to be a little bit more of a psyche for them and more of a boost for the Dodgers. You know, they were so jacked up and, had to go right back out and play, you know, regular, 9 innings, they smell blood in the water and I think they're going to go for it tomorrow.
Well, I think, yeah, they did. I mean, it was out there that uh, at a minimum, they're going to extra innings in their head. At
Yeah.
a minimum, with two on and no out, and a guy who's never pitched, never gotten a save in his freaking life, wasn't a good reliever when he was with the Pirates back in the day.
Hmm.
So, and to have it just, it's like that old commercial, oh, here it is, and the guy's trying to get it, it was like a State Farm commercial or something like that. It is something that, yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
You brought up the Padres,
Yep.
this is exactly game 5 of the NLDS
Mm-hmm.
against the Padres, where the Dodgers came all the way back and took one in Padre Stadium, and
Yep.
then came home and won it.
Yeah.
This is the envision that I have.
I hope you're right, because last time we won a game 6 to a game 7, I did not like what happened.
Yeah.
And game 6, 2017 was on Halloween.
Yeah.
I still remember because I was with my older son. We had a great time. It was just a great time, just me and my son. And after we brought a whole bag of candy, so we were tossing candy to everyone after the game and everything. That was a really good time. And then come back the next day, and at ride home, I didn't say a word.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the 18 inning game, everyone was trying to end it with a homer on both sides. And the other part of it was the Blue Jays had half their lineup out due to the changes that were made.
Mhm.
Yeah. I still I still believe it. So Snell, yeah, the rest of the game he pitched, he was fine. The only reason he even pitched into the 7th inning was because they have no bullpen. And then Edgardo came in terrible. Yeah, it's a big loss. Yeah, I know. Oh man, I was about ready to have an event, because if they would have had Springer come up and do something to end this Dodgers run, I just it just can't be him, because I've said it many times. I like this team. I like the Blue Jays a lot, except that one guy, except 4. I don't like number 4,
Yeah.
and it's personal. It really is. But and he's just never, like we talked about, he's never repented. If he just say I'm sorry and go, I blew it, fine. We can. It's easier for people, but it can't be that guy. But they got some good players on that team. They got a bunch of guys that, quite a few guys that are kind of like that Max Muncy, Chris Taylor waiver wire type thing.
Well, they have a bunch of people that go out there and have bat to ball contact.
Yeah.
I mean, that's basically what it is. Look at how many bloop shots that are in there. A half swing just to, get a bat on the ball and it goes out into the outfield or, goes somewhere, and they're moving people around. You know,
Yep.
I don't understand how the Dodgers aren't like watching, what the Blue Jays are doing and say, hey, this is some stuff that we kind of should be implementing in our own game. At least so, Mookie's not hitting the best, just put the bat on the ball, do like a half swing or something, put the ball in play.
I know.
We're not looking for a home run.
Yeah.
We're looking for runners to score, to get on base for, hopefully to spark something in the other guys to be able to, do the same thing so we can score some runs.
Yep. No, I know. I'm. That's got to happen. They've got to go and score runs. Yeah, 4 hits, 3 of them in 1 inning.
Yeah.
I don't even remember the last hit. Who got it?
Yeah. I don't even remember
I
either.
remember. Plus, at the same time, I would tomorrow would have been Fernando's 75th. No, he's not. He wasn't that old. More like yeah, tomorrow is Fernando's birthday. He was born in 1960, so he would have been 65.
Hmm.
Yeah. Well, whenever they do those things, well, they did for Fernando last year. This year they're supposed to do it for for Vesia, and his family. So people still, please, when you hit your knees, either at night or in the morning, or both, then make sure you bring up one of the first ones out is Vesia and his family. Yeah. Oh yeah, Ohtani got that double. Who got the hit that was not in the 3rd inning? We just can't remember because we're older than the rest of you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for Fernando, for Vesia, I mean, but it's just go out and play baseball. And for Clayton, yeah, absolutely for Clayton Kershaw. I mean, but these guys know it. They know. Those one of those things where you see those tweets of Mookie doesn't care. No one, these guys don't care. That's just not true, folks. It's just because they don't behave the way you want to, just because a manager doesn't go scream and yell at an umpire doesn't mean that they don't care, because
Hmm.
they all do. They all want this really bad. They really do. I mean, this is what you play for.
No, I completely agree, but they need to show it. You
Mhm.
know, this, y- you know, woe is me, and and this and that attitude. Get rid of that stuff, man.
Yeah,
Get
that's
get
yeah.
get rid of it. You know, yeah, you've played horrible. So what are you going to do tomorrow's game? How are
Mhm.
you going to step yourself up? How are you going to, your approach is going to be different. Your sight, you know, eyesight to, to ball to bat. How's that going to be different for you? You know, I don't want to hear any of this stuff anymore. Just start playing the dang game.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah. Actually, History Man at 2020 wasn't for Lasorda because he was at the game, so he was still there, fortunately. But in 2021, they ran out of gas there. And this team does, in some ways, kind of related to what you're talking about. They have seemed out of gas so many times,
Hmm.
and hopefully this, it's like, guys, one more time,
That's
one more game.
that's why, whether if they lost tonight, I wouldn't be sitting here upset, and throwing, all these posts, even if they lose tomorrow, whatever. I don't think they're going to, but look at the run that they've had.
Hmm.
The past 2 years, they have played more games than any other team, and have had a shortened, off season, a shortened spring training, have traveled overseas, have played extra games more than anybody, and have gone into the World Series, both years. You know, like we talked about, like you just mentioned, these guys are probably shot out.
Yeah. No, we've definitely talked about that. About again, just last October. Well, a year ago today, they were flying. They were back in Los Angeles, getting
Hmm.
ready for the parade the next day. Um, and then of course, 4.5 months later, they're in Japan
Yeah,
playing baseball.
and
Um,
and had three, what, 2.5 maybe months off
yeah, they're back to spring training.
before they had to go back to spring training.
Hmm.
They go to spring training, they're only there for a month, and then they're on the plane to Japan,
Yep.
and playing games, meaningful games. And then they fly back and then they do the freeway series. And they never get a break.
Yeah. It was a rough one. And they are the defending champs. Yes, and Toronto is trying to take what they have, play like wild dogs. Yeah, and I think that's what they're looking at. I think they have gotten in their head now that they're not playing a patsy. Obviously, they should have had that after game 1, but especially after game 4, that they are playing a very good team,
Mhm.
and they are a team that is they're worthy. And if they win it, they're worthy. They would be a worthy championship team. But yeah, the Dodgers, they'll get it going. I'm not worried about them yet. In terms of their attitude, doesn't mean they're going to win. It just means they're going to go out. I think they're going to go and be ready to go. And I like the idea.
Well, I mean, it's a veteran group,
Yep.
that have been there many times, that have faced adversity many times. I think they know how to turn it around better than most teams.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, everybody already has that mindset. Is all hands on deck. Everybody's going to be playing, so you better be playing to the best of your ability.
And a shout out to Justin Robleski,
Yeah,
dude. He came in and just big league pitcher, man. He is that just cements it. He is a big league pitcher. Either he's a reliever with the Dodgers or you got to trade him. You cannot send him back to the minors. Heck
no.
no.
Well, I think after this year, there's going to be a lot of changes in that bullpen. He could be a part of it.
Yeah.
I just see people leaving. We're not going to have, Kirby Yates next year. I don't see Edgardo Enriquez coming back up. It's just that there's going to be a lot of changes that are going to be happening there.
Yep. Yeah, it'll be a redo. And they're missing, so many guys that are injured. And Phillips one, if he's back, it won't be till later in the year.
Hmm.
Rusdar never made it back.
Yeah, I mean, he comes back. Kyle Hurt comes back. Next year. No
Yeah.
matter if he comes back. In up to the team, or he goes back to Oklahoma.
Mhm.
And then we even have another starter that's coming back.
Mhm.
Who was the best pitcher last year until he got hurt.
Yeah, and River Ryan and Gavin Stone.
Yeah, and River Ryan's coming back.
Yeah, so
So
there's a lot coming back. Yeah, they'll and we'll be talking about that real soon, no matter what. 'Cause no
exactly.
matter what, tomorrow is the last game of the season.
Hmm.
Man, whew, this is the longest season for any team ever. And of course, it was mentioned by the great Sarah Langs that the Dodgers are the first team to begin the season outside the US and finish the season outside the US. Right.
Right.
Right. So they've been really doing it. Um, yeah. Oops, keep clicking the wrong thing. So Norm, yeah, I'm with you, man. It's all about being executed under high stress. Whoever scores first really tests the other team's ability not to press and start counting outs. And to be honest, the guy, that last play, even the pitch before the out before with Clement swinging at the first pitch, that was not a good pitch where he
Mhm.
popped out. So that was hopefully he doesn't learn from that. um, that was a rough one for him.
Yeah.
And then for the base running mistake out there, the batter did what he actually that looked like it could have been a hit, but Kike said it. He actually cheated on the card. He goes, "No, man, I know what's this guy what he does, blah blah blah," and his instincts were good on that one.
Yeah.
You know, so when the time mattered, the Dodgers stepped up, and this time Toronto didn't.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, this is these nail biters, man. This was like game 3 in that, the second game of the inning the second game of the night that night
Yeah.
was a total nail biter.
Yeah. Yeah. And personally, I don't care what Ohtani does tomorrow. He could hit 2 home runs and pitch a perfect game. Yamamoto
Oh yeah,
deserves the MVP.
absolutely. Yep. That should be that if they win, he's the MVP.
It's going to be criminal if he does not get it.
Yeah. Yeah, because Shohei's doing it in bunches, right? I mean, he had his monster. Was it game? Was it 2? No, game 3. Yeah, game
Yeah.
3, where it obviously padded his statistics, including getting 5 walks. Um, but that was still only 1 win.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
we need another game just like that from Ohtani tomorrow.
yeah. Yeah, hey, and I really don't care who wins it, but we can already tell you, we already know this, that Yamamoto is quickly becoming a legend in his own way.
Mhm.
Truly, thank you, Yankees, for not wanting to get to pay Yamamoto more than Garrett Cole. Appreciate that. Good move. Whew. Yeah, this is we're not gonna worry about Ohtani pitching a perfect game. He's probably gonna go like 3 or 4 innings because he's on short. What he pitched Tuesday? So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Oh, that's kind of a norm. No, not quite normal. It's not quite normal for him at all. So it won't be normal. He'll go 3 or 4, I believe. More of an opener than anything. It's just the first inning counts as much as the ninth inning. If you score 2 runs in the first, like they did when I was there on Wednesday, game was over after that first inning. It wasn't after the first 2 home runs. It was after the Dodgers' non-response when they just kind of died.
Mhm.
Just died. Yeah, Yamamoto, he's got to. Yamamoto will close it out tomorrow. There's no. I mean, if they need to, if they have to go to him, they will go to him. I'm not. I just know that, and I
Well,
think he can do it.
the thing about Yamamoto is he'll go to them. They won't go to him.
Right.
He'll go to them and say, "Put
That's
me
what he
in."
did the other night.
Yeah.
They said that he was sitting there staring at Doc during the
And
game.
prior.
Yeah, 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 and smiling. Yeah, yeah, history, man. I agree, and I think we all agree. This has been
Oh, yeah, definitely.
it's been the weirdest season because to me this team is they're very talented. Granted, it's just been a weird team all year. A lot
Yes.
of underachieve, a lot of weird things happening. Mookie Betts getting sick, and then playing a better shortstop than I think any of us thought he would be, and then for him to stop hitting. This is Mookie Betts. So
Yeah.
it was just on his thing, and then Tanner Scott being bad, Kirby Yates being worse. Um, jeez, I mean,
Yeah.
just
Tanner
Justin
Scott's
Wilder, yeah.
he's the shocker for me.
Oh, me too. I thought that was such a sure thing, but now it doesn't even matter because he's hurt. I don't even think he's healthy. So even if he was, yeah, I think if he was healthy, he'd be on the roster. But if he wasn't, then Will Klein. If he was, maybe Will Klein wasn't. The Dodgers don't win Game 3 or something like that. Who knows? There's no way
Yeah.
Tanner Scott could have gone 4 innings like Will Klein.
No. No.
So yeah, it's gonna be a different. And yeah, the Will Klein stuff is he was pitching against 4 or 5 backups. That's one thing I got to keep in mind with him. But yeah, you know what? Find the right spot for him if you need to use them. But I just think they're going to burn. It's all hands on deck.
Yeah.
I think the least likely guy is Roki, just because he threw a lot of pitches, and yeah, that's just what I think.
Yeah. Yeah. It would be a fun season if they win tomorrow, I'll be honest. Otherwise, it will be a team that I don't know. Not for personally that's not for me. You know, it's been a fun season with them. Win or lose tomorrow, you know, they've gone back to back, to the World Series. Yeah, they didn't play, the greatest baseball, all year round, but look at the run that they did in the postseason, the wild card season, the DS and the CS, which is very admirable, and they kind of floundered a little bit, here in the World Series. They didn't play up to the potential of, the caliber of players that they have there. But I'm not going to think it's a fell short of expectations. I mean, honestly, I didn't think that they were going to make the World Series at the beginning of the year, anyways. So this is just a win-win for me.
Yeah, for me, I mean, it'll be disappointing, but it'll still be a good run. I'm learning to match those things in a bit. But yeah, I'll be terribly disappointed if they lose tomorrow. No doubt in my mind. But I'm not debating
Right,
that
me either.
frustrating. We said that already. We literally said that. It's been a frustrating team because they haven't fulfilled the expectations, but they still have found ways to win. I think that's the thing. That's the weird thing about this team. They shouldn't be here.
Right.
They should have lost against the Phillies, in my opinion. But they just found a way. They found a way. And that's the weird thing about this team is I think talent-wise, they're the best team. Execution-wise, they haven't been the best team. It's really frustrating. It is frustrating. It's been frustrating to watch some of these guys. It's also been a little difficult understanding how Dave Roberts uses the regular season. I got more clarity this year. It is really just a tryout for October.
Yeah.
And, again, Dave's I think been really good again. I just can't complain about him. He's been better. He's been each series. He's proven to be the best manager in each series. So I'll take it. And this is what is. Oh my gosh, is this really his 11th?
Yeah, it's 11th. Isn't
No,
it?
2016. It was 10th.
Oh yeah. Okay.
All right. I'm gonna bring in the big dude.
What's up, Austin?
I'm gonna bring it. Oh, Austin's here. Let's go. Austin, I'm gonna send you a URL too, but Richie's coming in, man. Watch out. Let me get it ready.
Hide your kids, hide your wife.
Let's get some fans' perspective. All right. Compose Austin and Richard. There he is. Link. See if I do you think I'll cut and paste the link? That is the question. That's what, like 3 of 5 or something like that, where I got the link. So everybody, I'd send them a nice email. I sent him an email with no link in it. It's been happening a lot. So it's like, let's get the text back, no link. Like, what the heck, Rogers? Come on, man. I'm sure. Hopefully, I don't do that again. But fortunately, it's not that big a deal. We survived that. Oh, here we go. Let's do this. Okay, here we go. Where is it? Okay, everyone hide your kids, hide your wife. Here we go.
Doyers.
We have that one.
You need to play.
Doyers.
That's my favorite one.
You need to play the Yoshinobu song.
I don't have. Well, I can't play. I'll get what you called struck.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh man. I tell. What is it? Oh, what else do I have on here? I haven't even looked. I got.
Bruh.
Man, I got one of my friends. Man, he's a Padre fan. Steve, shout out if you're out there. I never send him smack. Nothing. I just put a tweet. He just replies, "Go Blue Jays." Like, come on, man. So I always give him the bruh. Like, come on, dude. That's However, we win this thing. I was actually pretty tame last year. This year, if we win, I don't know, man. I'm coming.
No, I agree with that, Norm. Totally agree.
Well, and I think the guy with the worst body language is Freddie Freeman.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I will bet you $100 that when he played Little League, he was the crier. Every time he struck out. I will still never forget I was in a oh man, I was a coach on a majors team, and our best 12-year-old guy, 12-year-old player and all that, good player. Actually, he was league age 11, but he got to repeat twice with the rule changes. And he made an out and he hit the ball pretty well. He comes back to the dugout crying. Like, what? Huh? Oh my gosh. No, there's a lot of criers these days in Little League. I mean, they just because there's a lot of pressure on them from the parents. Yep. Let's see. All right, nothing like Clint, man. Clint's got a bigger soundboard than I do. But yeah. Let's see. We get
Austin, you going to spring training again this year? I hope to see you there again.
I could not agree more. Trying this year. I'm not going to say for next year, but for this year, he's washed. He just doesn't have what it takes this year to get guys out. He's lacking enough command, enough voodoo. You know how he pitches, right? He's a video game guy. It looks like video game stuff when he's on his best, but it's just not there. So yeah, he really, man, if he could fake an injury, it'd be great. Give me Benny Caps on there instead of him. I mean, let's be honest. But yeah, that's kind of where let's see. That's kind of where I'm at with him. And probably a lot of you know, I am I've been the biggest Trinan guy and backing him up. So it's going to be coming soon. Let me see. I got to write a quick thing here.
Oh, definitely. You know, I've been on the Triton bandwagon ever since he signed, and he's been a good pitcher, and he's come up big and in certain games for the team to where got him outs. Just look at last year. When he pitched those 2 innings against New York. It's just after his injury this year, he wasn't able to recover from it, and it just seems like something's off after that.
Here, let me get I'll send you. Let me get to you in the chat. We might get Austin coming in too, man.
Nice.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Austin and his analytics.
Oh man, maybe he can give us some type of rundown. What? Weird. There we goes. Man. I'm still, it's just one of those games where, because I was parallel processing, man. I was also passing out candy, and all that stuff. Regretfully, probably ate a little bit too much. But yeah, just going, just, 10 situation, doorbell rings I'm taking care of business, Seeing that, we didn't have a lot of customers, man. This neighborhood's kind of a mixture. We got a few young families and a lot of olds. And when I say old, I mean way older than me.
Yeah, we didn't have a lot of kids this year.
In fact, one of my I think I've said I got a great neighbor just down the street, 87-year-old Dodger fan, man. He saw him at the Coliseum.
Had your kids, had your wife.
What's up, Mr. Oregon?
Well, I thought that maybe watching the game from Bend, Oregon, while we were trick-or-treating with my great niece would be less stressful, and I was wrong. But we were trick-or-treating in this neighborhood in Bend, really nice neighborhood, by the way, and everybody was handing out candy from their driveway, and there was one house that they pulled their big screen TV out, and so it was in the driveway, and there's a whole group of dudes drinking beer, handing out candy, and watching the game, and they saw me in my Dodger jacket, so they invited me, so I watched an inning or two. A lot of Dodger fans up here. I was pleasantly surprised. I thought it would be all drunk and out and burned out Mariner fans, but no.
Probably a lot of transplants.
A lot of transplants up here. I ran into a couple of people trick or treating that used to live in Huntington Beach. One guy lived in Upland.
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean, there's a regular California reunion up here. So I took away a couple of things from this game. One, um, Yamamoto was worth every penny that we gave him.
Mm-hmm.
That guy has turned out to be a cold-blooded assassin on the mound. And even when he's not at his best, that guy will empty the tank and he will give you everything he's got. And it showed that tonight. I think Roki got squeezed again at the plate
Yep.
a little bit.
Yep.
I would be shocked if he throws tomorrow unless out of desperation or a certain situation, because I think he threw like 30 pitches.
Yeah, at least. Let me get that.
And if anybody needed anything positive to happen, boy, did it happen to the right guy when Mookie drove in those runs.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not going to sit here and I'm not going to dump on the offense, because when you're this late in a season, a win is a win is a win. Although common sense tells me is that the offense is still, it still scares me, but it's really going to come down to our pitching and our defense tomorrow. All we got to do, in my mind, I mean, I could be wrong, because if I knew anything about being in the big leagues, I wouldn't be working 60 hours a week. But my thoughts on tomorrow that I wanted to share is that if they're throwing Scherzer tomorrow, which I think is what they're going to do, and I mean, I'm pretty sure you guys think, that's your opportunity.
Yep.
You got to jump on. I mean, those first 2 or 3 innings are going to be key. If they can score like 3 or 4 runs and then just throw everything at them, because we have more pitching options than they do. I think on the pitching side, it's in our favor, but it's all going to come down to jump on the old man, that sent him on his way, hand him his AARP card, that just take advantage of it. Because Scherzer the key for me is jumping on him early. And then after that, you mix and match. Tell Shohei to empty the tank. Just go as hard as you can, as long as you can. And then so set up your pitching. Glass now only threw 3. You still have people available. The only thing I don't, but if I was Dave, I would deliberetely tell Banda and Trinan that the bus leaves at 6:00 at night. And my fantasy is I want to have a 8-run lead going into the last 2 innings, hand Kershaw the ball and send him on his way.
Yep, that's the way. That is the dream.
But that's how I want the game to go. And then so how about some feedback on this? We all thought that 18-inning game was a killer, but obviously the Blue Jays did otherwise. They really impressed me coming back. But how do you think tonight's game was more of at essentially a blow to the confidence of how they lost tonight? Because man, I mean it was right there for the taking, and then the baseball gods and just kind of this guy said, no, there will be a game 7 after. It's the 11th commandment, and so Moses came down the hill and said, no, there's 11, not 10, and now there's a 7th inning.
7th game.
7 games. So I think momentum's back in the dugout. We got to figure out a way to take care of it.
Yeah. I think their bobble in the 9th inning is a big factor for them. I think they're going to come out and play some inspired baseball. But if the Dodgers hit first and really knock them, good for the first 4 innings, I think that's going to come back and haunt them even more. And it's going to be more of a bigger psyche on them, tomorrow than it is right now. That's the way I see it, as far as them, because they're going to go, well, man, we had the thing 1-0, last night and we blew it. And, now they're just kicking our butt. And I think it's just going to be more pressure put on them than they know what to do with.
Let's see.
The other key for me is that I think having that travel day, I kind of thought that travel day, I thought that was a great way to sit on the plane, what's going on, take a breather, kind of, essentially talks amongst each other on the plane ride, uh, get out of Dodger Stadium, get out of LA, and go play, it back in the Great White North, and I think that kind of, I don't know, I just like, I kind of like them better. Um, uh, I kind of like the fact that they're hitting first tomorrow, and then
Yeah.
and then yeah, I mean, for some reason, I just think that in this series, and call me crazy, but in this entire postseason, I've always felt better of them performing on the road than I did in LA. I don't know why I feel that way, but I do.
I don't disagree with that. I agree with you on especially on the first inning. I hope that they get Scherzer up to 25, 26 pitches,
Yeah.
In the first inning. To where they're just fouling stuff off. They got really good competitive bats. Whether they score, 1, 2 runs, whatever. Get his pitch count way up, in the first inning, because that's gonna, you know, dead arm Scherzer. He's gonna make some type of excuse up, to be like, oh, it's this or that, or I wasn't feeling it, because he didn't have that big of a rest, coming off of his outing that he
No, he
had.
didn't.
You're right. Yeah, it's he pitched on Monday,
Yeah,
and he was okay. He gave up a couple. I think he ended up giving 3 in what, 5 1/3 or something like that. Dodgers need more than that. I really believe that.
yeah.
They got to do better.
And
So Austin's going to come in real soon.
okay.
Richie, when he comes in, we're going to swap you out. All right.
Well,
And
that's okay because I'm almost to the resort anyway, so I'm gonna bow
Nice.
out now. I just,
Where,
I just wanted to hop on for a little bit.
last
So,
question.
I
Where are
appreciate.
you watching the
Yes.
game?
Tomorrow we are visiting my wife's niece, and so it's her husband's birthday, so we'll be at their house watching the game.
Okay.
They have Apple TV, so what I did was, since I got an iPhone, I mirrored the MLB stream, which is faster
Mhm.
than the direct TV stream. And the bonus is that I can turn off schmaltz, and and so essentially that and I'm just more comfortable with Rick and Steven than I am with with Joe Davis and John
yeah,
Smoltz, because I don't like Joe Davis on national broadcast. It just doesn't work for me. And Smoltz just does not shut up. I mean, he just got severe diarrhea of the mouth. And when you're sitting there stressed out and T.O. striking out with the
Shut up.
bases loaded, and I mean, all he does is just add to my frustration. And so Jeff Schneider had taught me that, that little trick. So that's how we watched the game tonight. We had it on the MLB TV, but I was, but it syncs up real nicely with the Fox,
yeah,
with the
yeah.
Fox, and
That's good.
and,
Yeah.
and
I'm looking forward to seeing the Steven Nelson. Hopefully they have the inbox of him making the call on that final out. I want to see that. I love those calls he makes. Here we go. Austin's coming in. All right. Let's bring him in.
all right, well, I'm
Yeah.
out.
All right, Richie. See you later, man. Take care.
Have a good one, Richie.
God bless you, man.
Safe travels
Okay,
home.
guys. Bye.
Talk to you later.
Thank you. Bye.
What up, brother?
Austin, what do you think, man?
Oh man, and gentlemen, first off, this is the first time I'm being able to interact with you, Tim. So first off, it's an absolute pleasure to be able to interact and be able to communicate and talk about this Dodgers team. It's late here on the East Coast. It's after midnight. It's 12:41. I stayed up until 3 a.m. a couple days ago watching that baseball game. but I'm happy to be able to join in with you guys because the Dodgers are one win away from the World Series, and that's really what it's all about. Is the Dodgers just being this close from going back to back? It's absolutely incredible the way that the series has played out. Absolutely, it's just two heavyweights going out and being able to fight against each other. And the Dodgers aren't playing their best baseball, but they're still in Game 7, and I could be more excited about it.
Heck yeah.
Isn't it amazing? So everybody, this is Austin. Austin, we've been interacting online for years now. Austin Brubaker, and he is kicking butt with Casey at Dodgers Daily. Just amazing content. You got a bright future, man. He's a real young buck, obviously, but yeah, he's just doing such a good job. I really appreciate you coming in, man. Yeah, give us your thoughts, man. Just any insight that you had that we didn't talk about. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So first off, I love doing the show with Casey. I get the privilege to be able to. I'm privileged enough to be on the show at Dodgers Daily with him, and it's just an absolute joy to be able to do this and to bring a little bit of a different perspective. So a little bit of background on me for a new audience. In my work life, I'm actually a statistician. That literally is what my actual job is outside of this. That's what I went to school for. And really it comes down from a passion of baseball statistics is really where all of this kind of meshes into each other. And then my connection with the Dodgers organization has to do actually with one of their minor league affiliates. I'm a huge, massive fan of the Great Lakes Loons. And so when it comes down to this actual series and stuff, let's break it down a little bit this way. Toronto has been absolutely incredible offensively during the course of this postseason. And it is specifically because they have merged their incredible ability to have bat to ball skills, which they do not strike out a lot. They have the lowest strikeout percentage in all of Major League Baseball. They put the ball in play. We've seen that play out in the postseason and in particular during this World Series, especially when they've had a lot of success. But they've married that with the ability to hit for power. And that's the biggest thing. And this is what I was looking back through the Toronto and each one of their games. When they out-homer their opponent, they win every single time during this postseason, which means that if the Dodgers are to win this Game 7, they have to be able to limit the Blue Jays' ability to hit for power, because that is the thing that turns this offense from being really good in Toronto to being absolutely electric and absolutely dominant force. And that's going to be the challenge going forward for the Dodgers. What they do have is they have a lot of weapons that they can turn to. And in just a one-game setting, you're going to have Ohtani that's going to be available. You're going to have Blastow, who just threw 3 pitches during the game today, available. You're going to have Blake Snell that could potentially be available even just for a very short burst because he pitched 116 pitches just a couple of days ago. Even if you just want him to go out and face a Addison Barger and a Dalton Varsho, so that sort of run of the lineup, he can be available for that. Everything is going to be on the table for the Dodgers, which means that from a analytics perspective, you have to go into the depths of the playbook to try to figure out what are some of the best matchups that you can take advantage of going into it, set some parameters, and then see how these arms are actually doing during the game.
Yeah. What are you seeing?
I just love Austin, man. I love listening to him speak. You
so
know,
good.
when we were together over at Dodgers Daily, I always just love just listening to him, you know, preach baseball and just his view of it and his analytics that he has. It's just so spot on as, you know, what he has and what he does. It just makes me laugh and, you know, so proud of him and, you know, where he's come from and what he's doing now.
And it's funny, you know, you got into statistics because of baseball. For me, it was the back of baseball cards. I mean, that's you know, looking at those and asking my mom, what's average, what's ERA, and she was able to, you know, help me learn those things a bit, and just putting spreadsheets together and all that type of stuff, trying to come up with my own ranking system, you know, and I didn't lay out all the baseball cards with the top 25, because back in the day we had 25 instead of 26. And yeah, baseball is that type of, it's such a, that's why the you know, those numbers that, you know, 715 is sacred. 406 is sacred. I don't even honor bonds. I get it. Blah blah blah. I can't. I don't even remember what is it. 756. Okay. But I mean, but 714 was the iconic number. Getting to 300 wins, having 3,000 hits, having 3,000 strikeouts, batting 300, having ERAs under 3, all those types of things just are those things. And I know now that with all these advanced statistics, those kind of go away in a lot of ways, but they still signify a lot. Like people go, oh, pitcher wins, they don't matter. Well, you know what? You tell that to that young guy who gets that ball that says first win. You tell that to my son after his first W as a freshman. It's like, no, it meant the world to them. But we understand it, how it does factor in now with all these statistics, because it does matter. And the Dodgers are, they're one of the top teams at doing this. They've been leading the way. You need to, where's Austin? Max Bay, maybe he'll join in. Do you know who Max is?
I do not know who Max is. No.
Max used to kind of even be a regular on the Dodgers Nation chat. And he's come in here. He works for the Dodgers now. He used to actually work for the bad guys in Houston. He got a ring with them, and they got a ring last year with the Dodgers. So he's a numbers guy. So Max Bay, I'll make sure to get that to you. Okay. That's a guy that you need to definitely hook up. Okay, well, hold on real quick.
While you're doing that, I think you hit on a lot of really key points. First off, for me, just growing up for me, first off, I didn't grow up in Los Angeles, and to be frank, I did not grow up a Dodgers fan. I grew up, moved back to the state of Michigan when I was 6, almost 7 years old. To that point, I had only been to one baseball game. Didn't really remember it. I was too young, but it was actually, I think it was Ichiro's 3,000th or 2,000th combined hit between Major League Baseball and Japan. Got to see that when they were playing the Tigers out in Washington. But then it moved back home, and then all of a sudden, just from a 6 to 7 year old kid, just fell in love with baseball in 2006 with that 2006 Detroit Tigers team, to the point where, and this is where you can see some of my numbers start popping up, I was literally quoting to my parents the statistics of the Detroit Tigers from memory to them from guys like Maglio Ordonez and Placido Polanco, who works for the Dodgers organization, and a lot of the Carlos Guillen, all of these different Detroit Tigers coming up, and it has grown quite a bit. The world of analytics and what that has meant to the game of baseball has just revolutionized it, and I'm very much pro analytics and pro utilizing as much information as you possibly can. And I think the Dodgers have done an extraordinary job with the limitations that they have, especially when the draft wise, because of their approach that they take with free agents. They're limited in what they're able to do, but they're still able to use the analytics, use the data, and combine that with the coaching aspect to build this juggernaut of an organization. They have for years and years put in a lot of effort into all aspects of the game of baseball, which is why they are a successful organization. It's not just because they went out and spent money on free agents. It is because they have built an infrastructure of a successful organization, which is the envy of the game of baseball. Not just their salary is the envy of the game of baseball, but their entire infrastructure of how they have built it, which is why they continue to be in position to go out and have success in the World Series. And this is why they're in Game 7 of the World Series. It's not just because they bought a lot of good players. It's because they have built an infrastructure for years that has led to them having the ability to get the best players out there.
Hey, Austin, what does the offense need to do tomorrow?
It's an extraordinary question, and this was a concern that I had going into this because, and this, you have to take a little bit of account into history. So I looked back, and a lot of the times Fox Broadcast has been bringing up if you sweep the World Series and the other series goes to Game 7. I didn't want to put that parameter on the other team going to Game 7. I just wanted to look at what happens if one team sweeps the league championship series and then the other team goes on and wins that series. What happens to the team that sweeps the league championship series? It has happened 10 other occasions where it has been a 7-game or a best of 7 league championship series. Teams that go ahead and sweep the league championship series are 3-7. and they score on average a run and a half less per game.
Mhm.
And the Dodgers right now are scoring 2 runs less per game than what they average in the course of the regular season, which means this is not historically unprecedented for the Dodgers. I just want to make sure that we're all aware this is not a historic anomaly when you have this amount of rest from one series to the next series. Now, that does not excuse any of the way that the Dodgers out there, because the Dodgers have the opportunity to be able to go out there and win this series. As the Dodgers team, as an offense, what's fascinating, what is just so incredibly frustrating is many of these teams, many of these players are just not getting good contact at all.
Mhm.
We talk about a lot about the struggles of Andy Pages, but going into the game tonight, there are several players that have worse expected results based on quality of contact than what Andy Pages has. Mookie Betts, worse expected quality of contact. Max Muncy, worse expected quality of contact. Tommy Edman, worst expected quality of contact. Kike Hernandez, worst expected quality of contact in the World Series, which means that if we have all of our frustration on this one guy, Andy Pages, which I'm not saying that he's not deserving of that frustration, because he absolutely is, the offense just has not been hitting well at this point. So then it comes down to, in a game 7, what do you have to do, and how do you have to go out and approach and attack a Max Scherzer? And one of the guys, I mentioned this on the show earlier at Dodgers Daily, is one of the guys I've been most disappointed at is actually probably Max Muncy, because the Blue Jays have a lot of right-handed pitchers in as part of their rotation, which if you look at the bottom of this lineup, which going into the offseason, this is going to have to be an issue that they have to address. There's a lot of hitters, especially right now, at the bottom of the lineup that do significantly worse against righties in comparison to lefties. And the one guy that's a stopgap from breaking up the run of from a Mookie Betts now in the floor slot to Max Muncy, to Teoscar Hernandez, to Kike Hernandez, to a Tommy Edman, to a Miguel Rojas. The one guy that can build a stopgap from that run of a lot of righty hitters is Max Muncy, which means that during the game tomorrow, when they're going to likely have a Max Scherzer, when they're going to throw out guys like probably a Louis Varland again, and Jeff Hoffman, and Seranthony Dominguez, and whoever their best arms are, Toronto is going to utilize during the game tomorrow, and they're going to heavily attack that run of right-handed hitters, which means that either one of the right-handed hitters has to step up and have a big-time moment. Either a Teoscar Hernandez or a Mookie Betts, like he had during the game tonight, has to step up against right-handed pitchers, or Max Muncy has to, because he's the one stopgap of guys that can go ahead and hit right-handed pitchers, has to step up during the game tomorrow. That's going to be some of the things that I'm going to be looking at. But otherwise, just go ahead, take it one bat at a time, and win the at-bat, which doesn't mean get a base hit every single time, but do what you can to see as many pitches as you can, do what you can to try to put the ball in play, and just go out there and do your absolute best. And if you leave it all on the field, whatever happens will happen in a game 7.
Exactly.
Yeah. Muncy, it was my MVP call for the World Series, and he's playing opposite ball. I mean, lifetime he's 4 for 21 against Scherzer. Now I don't have the postseason. I'm just looking at ESPN. I didn't have any of that information, to include all of that. But just real quick, Betts 3 for 12. Call 1 for 5. He won't start. Edman 6 for 18, so that's good. Freddie 11 for 56, not so good, but with 3 dongs. 1 for 8 for Kike, 2 for 9 for Teo. When it's, the sliders, right? 4 for 22 for Max, 4 for 8 for Shohei. So that might be something to keep an eye on. Pies 1 for 5. Miggy Rowe 9 for 37. Good enough. Smith 1 for 6. So not a lot of success against that dude at all. Man, I don't like that. But it's also, I still look at it, I go, despite numbers, despite all that stuff, this team, if they play to like 80 to 85% of their potential, they win tomorrow, because their pitching, I think, is going to be good enough. And they're hitting. If they're just the hitters, just do your thing. Just do, some of you guys do your thing, but have a few rallies. Like Gosman, first 32 pitches, only 11 were in the zone, and he had struck out 8 of those guys. I mean, they just were lost.
It's chase.
Yeah. Well, fortunately, Scherzer doesn't have a splitter, but he's got the curveball he can bring at you, and he's got the sweeper slider he's gonna bring on him. I mean, Teo's gonna hopefully not eat poop with that one, but Teo against a slider, man. If I was a right-hander going against Teo, and then there's 2 strikes, you're always throwing low and away because he's swinging at it almost every time. When he's really locked in, though, he doesn't. And if he could lock in a little bit, that'd be wonderful. But man, maybe Shohei does do the big thing. I mean, that's what Mookie in the post game goes, man. I just feel he feels like he's just born for this thing. He's built for tomorrow, and he wouldn't be surprised if he goes and does that thing, whatever that thing is.
I just want to see them score, a minimum of 5, if not 6 runs, going into the 6th or 7th inning.
I might have tears in my eyes, man.
That's what I hope to see tomorrow, from this offense. Actually, come out there with some pride and get out there and start swinging the bat like they know that they can, and and that I'll feel a lot more comfortable, going into it. We're probably gonna have Ohtani pitching, first, coming up, and then it's either gonna be Glass now or it's gonna be Snell, and whoever's gonna come in, behind them, depending on how long they come in. So. How impressed were you with Will Klein? Jeez.
Ooh, holy cow, man!
I mean, what we saw of him in Oklahoma, watching all the games that we watched there, it doesn't really surprise me. But man, what he did was just amazing.
Man, you talk about taking advantage of a moment, and Will Klein, when the team desperately needed him to be able to do so, stepped up in an extraordinary way and etched himself in Dodgers history. This is somebody who, just based off the makeup of the type of player that he is, and knowing that the Dodgers organization runs through a lot of these types of players, and a lot of those players get forgotten about by Dodgers fans. Will Klein will never be forgotten about because of what he was able to do during that Game 4 performance and everything he was able to lay out there. Now, will he be available for Game 7? Dude, I have no idea if he still has an arm based off what he did during that Game 4 performance. But he was extraordinary for that specific moment. So then I guess it brings up a really good question as far as the game tomorrow. And this is a game plan specific strategy, especially on the pitching side.
Yeah.
What are specific matchups, and how do you want to, at least from a loose perspective, because obviously once the game actually starts, this very much can vary. What is some of the parameters and expectations that you're setting out for the pitching going into Game 7? Is it a Shohei Ohtani start? And if it's a Shohei start, how long are you anticipating him going, or specifically what matchups are you looking for him to be able to at least get through this matchup before looking to go to an alternative option?
Yeah. This is what I do know. So the 2017 World Series, Andy McCullough wrote amazing articles when he was working for the LA Times and talking about the Dodgers planning and how they plan out for their pitchers. There will be a huge and a very well thought out plan where they're hoping it goes to that. I do think, I mean, Shohei, if he's going to pitch, he has to start, because if it's in the middle of the game, he casts, there's also, you lose the DH and all that type of stuff. So I do see him starting, and then it goes, okay, is it one time through the order? Is it 45 pitches? Those types. They're factoring all that stuff in. They're also going, oh, we don't want to see something twice, so that could lead to something else. Like how available is Justin Robleski? That's the left-handed arm I trust right now.
Yeah.
I mean, Bond is terrible. He's just kind of lost his vibe. Treinen you can't trust. And I know he's not a lefty, but Dreyer threw well the other day. I don't know how much he has left. Do you remember how many pitches he threw? But they're going to have to navigate some things in there. But we do know they're going to go Springer, and they're going to go, oh gosh, darn it. The Luke's Lucas or whatever. It's spelled weird. And then it'll be Vlad, and then it's going to be Bichette, and then it's going to be that little short wide catcher, man, little short round. so freaking good. You know,
Oh, he's
Alejandro Kirk.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, and then it'll be Clement's like 8.
Yeah, they might do Barger in
yeah.
the 5 hole,
Yeah.
Kirk in 6,
Yep.
and then they might do Varsho 5 hole, Kirk
Yes.
6, and then Barger 7, Clement 8, and then Jimenez 9. That creates a lot of lefty righty within their order, which means that you have to pick and choose which matchups you want to take advantage of if you're the Dodgers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So they'll go deep down into the analytics, and they're going to find that right guy, and they're going to have the pitches planned and everything for those certain situations. They're going to have a million things. That's what that guy Max is going to be doing. Max Bay is going to be working through those things. Maybe someday they do the right thing and hire you. They're going to go deep, and even for this game, it was deep that they were going, hey, we're going to go with Glass now, and just go, hey, and once they said he was going to be in the bullpen, I go, well, that means Shohei's starting. I mean, that just clearly meant that, and
Yep.
You know, how much can Glasnow bounce back? And there's we have a ton of questions, right? We just go, can Sasaki pitch tomorrow? I don't know, man. 32, 33 pitches for him. You know, Robles and Roki, to be honest, looking at it, I don't know if you've ran anything, but Roki has not been good back to back and back to back days. You know, not
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not thinking about, you know, if there's a gap in it, but just back to back with that. Same with Trinan. But no, Trinan's been just bad. I mean, he's lost that mojo. He's been injured. He's getting older. It's not video game stuff every pitch like it's been before, where you just go, how does anyone hit this stuff? So yeah, there's going to be a monster plan with a lot of analytics in there, and they've you know, over these last 6 games they've acquired even more data because they're seeing this guy versus that guy, and how do we pitch this guy and how do we pitch that guy. So we will be shocked tomorrow. I can just tell you, there's going to be shocking moves. All hands are on deck. My bigger questions are: is Snell going to be available? I think he will be, but that's a Tim thinking, maybe wishful thinking.
Oh, he said he's going to be available. You know, and every time that he's talked, you know, in the postseason, you know,
these guys want it so bad.
You know, he says he's going to be available, you know, whether they want him to be or not, you know, because, you know, he wants to win. And like I said earlier, you know, even Yamamoto has thrown his name out there. He'd rather not be, but he said that he's going to be available, you know. And I think, you know, especially with, you know, with the Japanese pitchers, you know, with what Sasaki's seen Yamamoto do, you know, pitch a complete game, only have like 1 or 2 days off, and then look at Dave Roberts and Mark Pryor and say, I'm going to the bullpen, you know, and the surprise, you know, on his face, you know, when he saw that. I think that puts a little bit more oomph into Sasaki, you know, and a little bit more of the, hey, my countryman is doing it. You know, the pride of Japan is right there, you know, and I'm going to step up too, because him and I were, you know, battling in the MPP together, you know, when we were both there at the same time. So I'm not going to be surprised if Sasaki comes out next tomorrow. You know, maybe like 1 inning, maybe 2 innings. And I think honestly, I think he's going to be ready if they do.
Hope
so. Yeah, I would anticipate him being ready. The question mark is, when would you want to deploy him? And especially because we've noticed back-to-back performances, Roki Sasaki, maybe not necessarily as sharp. Do you want to, and I think this is where you talk about the game plan going into this, the thing that I circle the most, and this is what I talked about on the show earlier at Dodgers Daily, is I circle around the George Springer and Vlad Jr. matchups. Which pitchers, and do you want to see those guys as you're going through this game? Do you want to, for example, Shohei Ohtani starting? Do you want to see Shohei Ohtani go out there and face both of those guys twice and then go from there for the game? Do you want to see a Tyler Glasnow face the matchups of George Springer and Vlad Jr.? Because Tyler Glasnow did not see Vlad Jr. or George Springer. George Springer was on deck as Kike Hernandez caught the ball and then threw it to second base as the game ended in incredible fashion. And so it comes down to Roki Sasaki. Face those guys during the game today. Do you want to see him go up against that specific matchup, or do you want to save him for a little bit of a later matchup down the road? Or is it just he's our ninth inning guy, we want to utilize him in that specific situation? We think we have enough of the pieces between an Ohtani, a Glass now, maybe a little bit of Snell, and maybe one or two other guys that they have out of the bullpen. You mentioned Justin Robleski, who I couldn't be more proud of that kid, and what he's been able to do. Look, this is a little bit of a side tangent and stuff, but we're going to go a little bit down a little bit of a side tangent just because it's a little bit of fun. Game 2 of the Midwest League Finals in 2019, or not 2019, 2023, 2 years ago. I had the chance to be able to go to Cedar Rapids, Iowa, to watch the Loons play against the Cedar Rapids Colonels. The Loons lost an absolute heartbreaker in Game 1. It's a best-of-3 matchup in this matchup. Justin Robleski, the Loons' ace of the season, took the mound in Game 2. And through 4 innings was as dominant as I have seen him. I think he had 6 strikeouts in those 4 innings and was absolutely electric. And they had enough pieces with a good start with Justin Robleski to win that game and then win the next game and take the Midwest League. That game was ended prematurely because of rain. They got through the top half of the 5th inning, but as they were entering the bottom half of the 5th inning, the tarp went on the field. And I've never seen a player more disappointed than Justin Robleski, because that was his chance to make a statement in a series that was as high of a level as he has made, to help his team go out there and win a championship. And that got taken away from him. And I've never felt so bad for a player in my entire life. You turn the page 2 years later to Game 6 in an elimination game where if their team doesn't win, they go home.
Yep.
And Justin Robleski goes out there, and while it wasn't the 9th inning, went out there and pitched the scoreless 7th. I was so happy for him in that particular moment. I think he could be somebody that could be available, especially if they want to utilize him for some of the lefties at the bottom half of the lineup. I think that could be a matchup that they could turn to depending on what usage they're able to get out of Ohtani, out of Snell, out of Glass now, and then potentially out of Sasaki. But out of all those guys, that's not bringing up a Blake Trinan. That's not bringing up an Anthony Banda. You can piecemeal things together, assuming this game doesn't go 18 innings, to be able to make it to where the Dodgers have their best opportunity pitching-wise to win the game.
And then what Robleski did, he 16 pitches, 12 strikes, gave up 1 hit, 2 Ks. And then, of course, the bouncer that Miggy Rowe grabbed with his bare hand. Dude, that guy is a game changer. I mean, just because he's just so baseball smart.
Do you see with Kershaw what he did? You know, when he came in, do you see him pitching tomorrow?
I don't anticipate it unless the Dodgers are up big and this is the 9th inning and they're up by 8 or 9 runs, and we want you to take the ball to close out this World Series championship. Otherwise, I think they're going to turn to other arms, because I think the priority is going to be we want to win this championship over utilizing a guy who should be as well respected as any guy in the game of baseball, as Clayton Kershaw absolutely is. I think they turn to some of the other options because I think they trust those other options, and I think they feel comfortable with the way that it ended, to where if that's the last time that we see Clayton Kershaw pitch, getting out of that bases loaded jam, I think he and the organization is comfortable enough with that being potentially his final moment.
Yep.
Yeah, I do. I could see him coming in for one batter though again, you know, in a tight one with runners on base. The thing is, his stuff's not the greatest. We know that, but right now I would trust him over Banda. That's one example. And if Dreyer should be good tomorrow. He should be fine. But Kershaw knows how to pitch, and that's how we got that dude out last time. Yeah, Luke's, or what does he say? Luke's or Lucas or whatever.
Yeah, Lucas. Yeah,
Lucas. Yeah, never seen a name like that. Lucas. But yeah, he just worked. He knew how to pitch to him, and got him to fish and everything like that. So he might be the guy to come in and do that again. I hope I don't know if I can take it. I'm being honest with you, I don't know if I can handle that. I think we all want what's best for Kersh. We want Kersh to go out in glory, and if that's the last time we see him pitch, that's so awesome. But if he gets another chance and goes out and can win it, just do what you do. The good thing is Doc's not doing that sentimental junk. He's done that before too many times, trying to rescue Kersh's legacy, and now they know what he is. And I think the only way he gets pressed into work is if they go extra innings again, or it's a big lead in the last. I wouldn't hesitate to put Clayton Kershaw out there with a big lead to go and get the final out. I mean, and as we all just bawl our eyes out, but that's the dream, right? The reality is that's not going to happen. It's going to be probably a really close game, and we'll just sweat it out, man. It's just that, look, and trying to look further at the pitching. So they didn't use Sheehan today. He was up, but they didn't use him. So what have been your thoughts on Sheehan as a reliever?
Yeah, it's very much pressure packed. It's a very different environment from what he's used to, and I think we're starting to see some of that pressure potentially get to him a little bit, as well as some of the wear and tear that's coming out from a season in which he's coming back from it. Let's not forget, Emmett Sheehan has been coming back from an injury over the course of the season, which means that they are putting a lot of their hopes and expectations on him coming back from an injury. One of the reasons why I don't think you're seeing a whole lot of Jack Dreyer in the postseason is because he's now, if you look at the number of innings that he's pitched, it's like 15 innings more than what he's ever pitched at the course at the minor league level, which means they have vastly overused Jack Dreyer to the point where he might be on a little bit of a innings limit. Now, tomorrow, if he's the best option, they can utilize him. Yeah. But with Emmett Sheehan, I think because going to the bullpen can shift some of your routine. That can get you a little bit out of sync. You combine that with the fact that he's coming back from injury. Combine that with the fact that, he might be a little bit tired with all of this rest. And you might say, I'm tired after not pitching that many innings or coming back halfway through the season. It does matter and it does count. And you relied on him quite a bit. I still believe that he can be utilized, but I think it has to be in a direct and good situation for him to be able to succeed. So I don't necessarily know all the numbers as far as who he's seeing in this exact lineup and what the best matchup is going to be for him, but it's only for that exact matchup, or if one of your main options fails, you can utilize Emmett Sheehan from there. But I think the kid's got an incredible future going forward, and I love the steps that he's taken so far this year. In the postseason, though, with a different pressure, with a different environment, and with a different role for him specifically, they're definitely stretching what he is capable, what they believe he can do, and stretching his abilities because he has never done this before.
And honestly, what you brought up about Dreyer, that same goes for Kasperius also. That's why they're not using him, because they've kind of overtaxed him quite a bit, throughout this year. And, him coming up, going back down,
starting, relieving,
and then he only goes back to Oklahoma, and then he only pitches like, 2 or 3 innings, trying to save it, his arm a little bit. Then he comes back up and he's just totally all taxed out, because the bullpen is not, where it's at. And then, we need you to start, at this start, and he's all taxed out again. Then he goes back down to Oklahoma and he only pitches like, 2 or 3 innings again, so I think, Kasperius, that's why I always thought that why he's not on the team is because he's maxed. He's been maxed out.
I think it's possible. I think that's definitely possible. And I think and especially with him being such a unique situation, him coming up through the minor leagues as a starting pitcher, because of the talent that he has, Dodgers kind of converted him to that relief pitcher. And I think you made a really good point. The Dodgers had to try to ramp him up to be a starter at some point during the course of the regular season, and then ramped him back down to be a reliever. And all of that, I think, created so many different dynamics in this season to the point where a lot of that travel back and forth could have potentially taxed him as well. So all of these guys are taxed.
Mhm.
You just have to give one more effort tomorrow, and then guess
Exactly.
what? You get to be on vacation for the next several months and do whatever you want with obviously some sort of training and stuff through the off season, but it's a little bit more of a relaxed environment. But I'm curious to see how the Dodgers are going to be able to game plan this going forward, because they have a lot. What we're trying to do is we're trying to gain as much insight from information that is incomplete on our end, because we don't know how ready Ohtani is going to be for tomorrow as far as his rest goes, how well or ready Blake Snell is going to be after started throwing 116 pitches just a couple of days ago, or how the wear and tear of the season has gone on some of these guys. I know that has made an impact on some of the decisions that they have, but I think there's a lot of really good progress on the pitching side of things from a lot of really talented young arms.
Yeah, and what's Ohtani? He's only going to have what, 4 days rest? 5?
He pitched on Tuesday, so that's definitely a quick turnaround for him.
Yeah, plus hitting, the whole time. So who knows how well, his command's going to be and how accurate he's going to be, throwing the ball. So, and again, just like, Emmett Sheehan, he's coming off, an injury, and he has been working his way back up. So going to be interesting tomorrow. It's, how long he lasts. I'd love to see him go, 2, maybe 3 innings at the most. Depends on what his pitch count is, and in inning number 1. I think inning number 1 is going to be the big teller for me. On how far he's going to go. If he only pitches, like 10 pitches, 11 pitches, and he looks real sharp. He's the unicorn, man. Nobody knows what he's going to do. His mentality is none other than athlete that I've ever seen, and how he can just turn things up, in a short period of time. So who knows? I mean, he can go like 4 innings, whatever.
And I think with him,
nobody knows that.
Yeah, I think what they're going to do with him is just treat it like you're closing the game. Throw the Shohei, go throw the kitchen sink at him tomorrow, or almost tomorrow, almost today.
Well, it's today on the East Coast.
Yeah.
It's tomorrow for Austin.
So they're gonna. And the good thing with the Shohei thing is, man, he's got to find what pitches are working. He's got 7 pitches or so. I mean, it's 11. Oh, whatever. It's a huge number of pitches. He's got to find what's working pretty quick. We can't have those home runs like the first inning of like Wednesday. I'm still trying to get a refund because that hurt bad. That was terrible. Oh man. Definitely not my worst game since I've been to Dodger Stadium since 2017 World Series. But it's one of those, we got to find out what's working without making a mistake that's going to cost you a run.
Mm-hmm.
Mistakes happen. Hopefully it's a line out or the guy fouls it off or whatever like that. You just can't. We can't, like you said, you can't be Springer, can't be Vlad. Those other guys are good, and we know, especially that. Again, little short round, that catcher, Alejandro Kirk, he's been so good. He's become, I mean, I can't stand that he's on the Jays, but he's one of my favorite players now. I just admired the build. Yeah, I won't want to refund. Yeah. But yeah, he's another guy that's really dangerous. And if you make mistakes to him, you're going to be in trouble there too. And they made a few mistakes. I mean, he hit that 3-run home run. Which game? I'm lost in which game that was now. Doesn't matter. But he's hit a couple of big shots for them, and he's a weapon. Can't overlook him. All these guys are really good, and but hopefully some of these guys can come back to earth. I mean, Ernie Clement, before that first pitch pop out, thank you. He was hitting 406 in the playoffs. Jeez,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Blue Jays are getting a lot of guys to overperform what they did in the course of the regular season. Ernie Clement absolutely is one of them. Addison Barger has been somebody that has hit really well throughout the course of the postseason, which has led them to the point where they're having a lot of success. You got to give credit to what Toronto has built and what they are able to do, because they know exactly what their identity is. They play really good fundamental defense, and they don't strike out. And when you have a little bit of power that's added into that, man, you got a good team. And Toronto's got a really good team. I think the question mark for tomorrow, especially with Shohei pitching, is in the game plan going forward. Do they want to try to get him to get through Springer and Vlad Jr. 2 times through?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's going to be the question mark, because it
Yep.
could be determined how he's doing and how some of the numbers are actually showcasing, because that you're going to have to make a decision quick, because you have to decide what exactly do you want the matchups for those 2 guys in particular to be, and do you need to make a quick pull of Shohei to go to somebody like a Tyler Glass now for that specific moment, or do you want to go to somebody else just to mix and match it up, or do you feel comfortable enough with Shohei on short rest going against those 2 guys twice?
Right. Yeah, I think how it goes the first time is going to be part of that. And we're
I think the first inning is going to tell a lot, for both teams. Toronto's going to come in. They've, a game 7, a lot of pressure, playing for the country, a lot of pressure on players that haven't really been in this situation. They've come through it, coming through through the postseason, but a game 7 of the World Series is a little bit different, to where the veteran Dodgers team, has this experience already. So I think the first maybe 1 or 2 innings is going to tell a lot on how the Toronto Blue Jays are going to actually react, and then they could just, totally turn it on like they've done, in the 5 and 6 inning and the 8th and 9th inning, and just totally blow everybody's mind. But, I'm going to be looking at the first 3 innings to see how they are and where they are mentally and how they're handling the pressure.
I think Scherzer's actually started 2 game 7s. I thought, didn't he start the 2019 game 7?
I think, yeah.
I think he did. Scherzer did. And then for the 2023 Rangers, he started the last, not game 7, but their clinching game. He only went like
5.
2 or 3 innings, but he did his job. And so with Scherzer, they got to find a way to get to him, nick him up, get to that bullpen quickly. They'll get to see. You get the right matchups with Sir Anthony. I think we do okay. Let's see. I'm going to go real quick here. The media thing tomorrow. Kiki Hernandez at 5:00. Dave Roberts 5:30. Okay. Yeah. Right now it says TBD versus right-handed pitcher Max Scherzer. So there we go. It's right there, and man, I can't believe this. I tomorrow morning I go do my drag strip stuff, so that'll keep my mind off it for a bit. So that's cool. And after that, I don't know.
I'm looking forward to the game tomorrow. I think it's going to be a good game.
I just want to get there.
That's what I'm praying for. A good, clean, fun baseball game to watch. Yeah, I want to see the Dodgers win, and go back to back. But I just want to see a good, clean, game to where there's not much controversy into it. Because I don't like to see controversy in games like this, to where, the umpire screwing things up or, something.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, this is going to be an incredible game. Game 7s don't come around too often.
Mhm.
And when they do come, you can identify special moments in those games. And to get it to a point where both teams are at game 7, both teams deserve to win this World Series. If it's Toronto that ends up winning it tomorrow, they will have beaten the Dodgers, and you can say, fair enough, you have beaten the Dodgers, and absolutely you deserve to win this World Series because of what they've been able to do offensively. And for the city of Toronto, it will be absolutely electric for them. But for the Dodgers, man, they have so much talent on this team, and they have built such a great team. And to be able to do it one more time for somebody like a Clayton Kershaw would just be absolutely special. It's going to be 2 motivated teams to do it, to be the first team to go back to back, or to bring the first World Series championship since 1993 back north of the border to Canada. Man, both of these 2 teams are going to be playing for a lot, and you just hope that it is a good, fair fought baseball
Mhm.
game, which I think leads right to your point, Mike, where it's you don't want one call or one decision to be able to influence what happens in the course of the game. Which, by the way, this brings up something I talked about at Dodgers Daily. I want to shout out to Justin Dean for putting his hands up right away on that ball in the outfield.
Yeah.
Because I tell you what, for a guy that has spent most of, if not a vast majority of his career down at the minor league level, for a guy to have the instincts to be able to do that, change the situation completely, because likely the runner on first base is scoring in that instance,
Yep.
which means that you have a runner on second with nobody out. Toronto could bunch the guy over. You could get a sacrifice fly, which, by the way, they did get a fly ball to the outfield during the batter, in which they would likely be trying to do that, in which case the game could be tied at that point. But because he put his hands up, he allowed the situation to be able to present himself. What I want for this game in Game 7 is just clean, fundamental type of baseball, and to just go out there and give your team the best shot to be able to win. If you go out to win, that is absolutely phenomenal. There's going to be parties on the street in Los Angeles. If it is not the case, there's going to be parties in the street of Toronto. But I think this team will have they will obviously have questions to be able to answer, but I will like the fight and have liked the fights that they have given so far in the series. Hopefully we get a little bit more offensive contributions during the game tomorrow.
Yep.
Yeah, they've been a bend but don't break team. You know, they haven't been beautiful. It hasn't been pretty. You know, winning the division wasn't pretty. Getting the third slot wasn't pretty. The Philadelphia series was not pretty. But you win anyway. You find ways to win. So real quick, the last 7-game World Series was 2019, and Max Scherzer did start that game, and he had kind of a dead arm at that point. He went 5 innings, gave up 7 hits and a couple runs, but fortunately, the Nationals beat the Astros that year. Thank goodness. But yeah, so he's Scherzer's out there again. He's ancient, you know. But he's still figuring. He's 41 years old.
That was a much younger Max Scherzer.
Yeah, but even then his arm was he was getting up there, but his arm was kind of dying then. I remember that. He was going through some stuff. And but yeah, we'll I mean, I'm gonna go real quick to what he did. You know, so he pitched on the 27th, 4.1 innings, 5 hits, 3 runs. I'll take that. If we get that tomorrow, I like that a lot. Especially with the way we're lining up our pitching. I'll take that any day. That was the 18-inning game, by the way. So long ago. That was also, and it's underrated. And I know people don't want to talk about it as much because of who closed it out. But that was also the 5-year anniversary of the 2020 World Series win with Urias going in, and just, my goodness, they had no chance against him. Adames is like, what the heck? No chance. But yeah, so man, November 1st. Yeah, I just don't like the anniversary of that. Back to 2017 again. Yeah. I don't know. Any last thoughts?
I'm good. I'm excited for tomorrow. Can't wait.
Let us know, Austin. You know, just send me something, because I'll advertise if you're going to do something beforehand with Dodgers Daily, because, you know, especially if you're going to have a bunch of analysis that you're going to go and probably go do after you get off this, and go do some more numbers.
Well, okay, so here's the thing is I'm going to be going to bed right after. So here's the thing is I actually took out my contacts, turned on the show, and you're like, oh yeah, we'll send you the link. I'm like, oh man, I got to go put in my contacts back in and stuff. So I'm going to be taking out my contacts, and I'm going to be going to bed right after this. But I guarantee you I will be dreaming about all the numbers and stuff. Look, first off, I can't wait for Game 7 tomorrow.
Yeah.
Game 7 is going to be absolutely phenomenal. And it can bring a lot of heartache. And I think that's some of the fear, because it's all the culmination of when guys arrived in spring training. It started before that. It started when the teams started being constructed in the offseason, which, by the way, starts immediately right after the Game 7 ends. There's no rest in the baseball calendar, which we will be covering, and I will be going in depth. I think on Monday will be the first start of it, which, if you think I put a lot of work into the Dodgers versus Blue Jays in that spreadsheet, holy cow, I put a lot of work into some of this other stuff. And I still got a lot of research and stuff that I'm doing for this. But Game 7 is going to be so essential. It's the culmination of everything that has come up to this point, which means that it's going to be either a tremendous celebration or devastating heartbreak. And I think these are the moments that you live for. Regardless of what happens, you don't want to be in a situation where you're not having a chance. You would rather have heartbreak than to not be here at this point. And for the Dodgers to be in this World Series, to go out there and be in a Game 7 where they have a chance with some guys that are going to be either Hall of Famers or Hall of very, very good type of players going out there, available on the pitching side and definitely available on the offensive side. I really like their chances to be able to go out there. And then once that is over, it will either be a cause for celebration or trying to figure out as far as how to construct this team in a way to where they can go out there and win the next one, because the Dodgers are set up for success for years to come. And I think with the infrastructure that they have built, they can go out there and have the chance to win many World Series championships over the course of the next couple of years. Let's just hope that they take advantage of this one, particularly for Clayton Kershaw. Go out there, win it for Clayton Kershaw. Tomorrow could be a chance to be another party in Los Angeles. And man, for the people that I know within the organization and for all the fans that I've gotten to know, I'm so excited for them.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, it's good for baseball too. Dodgers done a lot of the good things for baseball lately, including going to Japan way earlier than anyone, after winning the World Series and all that, and year before going to Korea. It's good for baseball. I don't care what they say. Dodgers are good for baseball. And hopefully, let's hope that there's a record set of viewers. I still think I want baseball to be America's pastime again. It is the greatest game, and it's like people say, how can you not be get romantic about baseball? It's an amazing game. Yeah, win for Vesia again, everyone. Man, pray for that family. Please pray for that family. Man, it's devastating for him, and I'm sure and probably also he's got to be feeling so weird right now, going through all the tragedy he's going through, but knowing that his team's is out there without him, and wishing he was there and everything. So it's got to be just such a rough time for that family, and we still don't know the details. I'm sure someday we're going to know about it, but all you can do is just pray for the Vesia family and I don't know the status, so I don't even know what to say with the rest of it. So, when you hit your knees tonight, tomorrow morning, whatever, make sure to bring up the Vesias, Alex and Kayla Vesia. So,
Yeah.
All right.
No, that's absolutely right. Appreciate you guys for letting me on. Tim, Mike, you guys are absolutely amazing. Keep up the great work. I'm sure there's going to be more of this, especially as we get through the course. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it again tomorrow night because, Sunday morning. Okay, so here's the thing. It's the best Sunday of the year. It's when you get an extra hour of sleep, which is incredibly important because so the reason why I know this is because I have to wake up at 5:30 every single Sunday because I arrive at the church at 6:40 every single Sunday because I play with the worship band that's over there every single week. And so it's super early that you have to wake up. I'm like, sweet, we get an extra hour of sleep. And now tomorrow I got to do a show right after this, which means my extra hour of sleep is going to be taken up by what sort of show that I'm going to be doing after Game 7 of the World Series. But I can't thank you guys enough for being able to allow me on the show. We're going to have more shows going forward, I'm sure, because you guys are absolutely awesome. Keep up doing the great things that you're doing here. And it's a joy to be able to collaborate as best as we possibly can between these, because having Dodgers fans communicate with each other and present varying viewpoints and different ideas, especially in a respectful way, I think is something that needs to be brought together. And I just love the contributions that both of you guys are able to bring.
Cool.
Same.
Thanks. All right.
Thanks, brother.
Let's sign off. We'll all sign off. So I'm going to do the first part. I'm going to let Mike, you do the second part, and Boston, you can close it. You know what to do, right? I think you do. You'll know. All right.
I've got no idea what I'm doing.
Okay. And if you stumble,
you got it. Yeah.
So thank you everybody for showing up. It was a great show. It was a great day of baseball. We have one more game of baseball tomorrow, and that is it. This is the last game of baseball. We're playing November baseball. Who will be that guy? So thank you so much, everyone, for coming out. As always, Mike, hit it.
God bless.
Go Loons.
Go Dodgers. Let's do it. Let me do this real quick.
Doyers.
All right. Good night,
Go
guys.
Loons.
Thanks a lot. Thanks, everybody.